Welcome to Engaging Kitsap, a positive local forum where we bring engaging people, ideas, and organizations into our BCAT studio. Today we welcome Dee Coppola, owner of Wet Apple Media Inc. and founding editorial director of the well-loved West Sound magazine. Wet Apple Media Inc. is publisher of Design Build on the Kitsap Peninsula and the former Kitsap Business Journal. I want to start out by saying congratulations on the success of the magazine. Tell us how it got started.
Well, that's really an interesting story. When I first came to Washington from Georgia and married my husband, he had the Kitsap Peninsula Business Journal, and I had previously worked for Lifestyle magazine in Georgia, in addition to publishing real estate magazines and builder magazines. And when South Sound magazine came out, that's the magazine, Lifestyle magazine in Tacoma.
Yes.
My husband thought, oh, you can do that. And I told him I was reluctant. I just said, I don't think so. I don't have the contacts here, fairly new to the area, and I don't have the resources. I would have to know lifestyle type writers, gardeners, photographers, and I just really wasn't comfortable doing that. Well, the next issue of the Kitsap Peninsula Business Journal had an article in it about the fact that I was starting a lifestyle magazine for the Kitsap Peninsula. So kind of got thrown in.
You were on the hook.
Yeah, and the first call I had was from Peg Tillery, who later became my garden editor. She had always wanted to do a gardening magazine for Kitsap, but really hadn't done it.
It was kismet.
It took us 9 months to get that first issue off the ground.
Wow, well, that's wonderful. Having been a fan of the magazine since the beginning, I think your success is rooted in your decision to hire local staff, local contributors, include only local advertisers. What do you consider the reason for the longevity?
I think we've just become such a part of the community. We do things like we highlight local businesses, local homes, local artists, local gardens. It's local restaurants. It's just all local. And we have something that we publish called Community Scenes. Mm-hmm. Fans of the magazine call it the Kitsap Society pages. But what they are really is usually nonprofit community events. And many times you can look in there and you'll see someone you know in those pictures.
I always do, yeah. I love that feature, and yeah, that local makes it personal for people, and that's great. I've been in Port Orchard for 30 years, and what I love is that I'll learn something new and exciting from each different issue. It must feel good to know that you're connecting people in that way with the magazine.
Oh, it is, and we get great ideas. Sometimes my writers will pitch an idea, or someone that isn't a writer that wants to write it. Sometimes it's neighbors pointing out their neighbor's garden. Sometimes it's just people in the community, and sometimes it's just me nosing around. But every single issue, I learn about something different, at least one thing, usually multiple.
You made the decision right off the bat that all the content would be family friendly, and that you'd have a lot of variety in the topics that you cover. How has that been received by people?
Oh, I think it's been received well. We're in the libraries. We couldn't be in the libraries if we had objectionable material. But it's sophisticated enough for adults. People can read what they want in the magazine, but it has such a huge variety of topics that we cover, and it's really been so fun.
Gardening, beautifully designed homes, these are mainstay topics. What are some of the things that you cover that might surprise people?
Well, just this issue, we're covering the record shops on the Kitsap Peninsula. And we just have a lot of interest in the unusual. And small business is a focus for us also, because really they don't get a lot of credit for the things that they do in the communities.
Well, my favorite, I have a lot of favorites, but I would say the bird watching article with the great photographs is one of my favorites.
She's wonderful. She's a wonderful writer, wonderful photographer.
Yes, absolutely. And you even cover automobiles.
I know, that's my husband's love, so I threw those in there for him.
That's wonderful. Tell us about the Best of the West Sound Awards.
I first saw Best of Awards when South Sound came out with it, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is a great idea. So I immediately capitalized on it, and we set up online voting, and usually the voting starts in September and wraps up in March so that we can publish in the May-June issue. I can't believe how many people we have that vote. A lot of people will vote on every single topic, and there are many. And then some vote on maybe 3 or 4, 5 or 6, whatever they're interested in. But it's a really, really good source for us to see, what's shaking and what people are really liking. Are we missing something?
Well, I know that your staff take that really seriously, the voting and all that. What goes into it?
Yes, he does. Greg handles that, and I don't ever know who won, really, until he gives me the list, the final list. But he checks out and makes certain that, he provides the security for the voting. He makes sure that the same people are not voting over and over, or that a company doesn't continually vote for themselves. He checks all of that.
That's wonderful. I don't think people realize all that goes into doing a poll like that, right?
Oh, I know, and then compiling it. It's really interesting. And sometimes we have so many people that, we have maybe 4 or 5 top restaurants, and they all have the same number. So there are lots of ties.
Lots of ties. Well, I bet businesses really want to see this particular issue and see where they come out in the standings, right?
Yes, and they love getting their logo. They get a Best of West Sound logo, and you'll see it on their trucks, on their doors, on their letterhead, on their emails. They display it because it really is important. We're the only ones that do it for the whole area. The local papers now have picked it up and they do it in their towns.
Okay.
But we cover a huge area. So that means they really did mean something.
How has the magazine evolved over the years, and how do you keep it fresh?
Well, I think we keep it fresh with new content. But, when COVID hit, everybody was shut down, but we were designated immediately. My IT guy registered us as a media, so we stayed open.
Nice.
I had some customers shut down, but most of my clients were open. And it gave me time to just take a look at it and review everything. So I decided to change the name to West Sound. And then underneath it has the taglines, home, garden, community. That was the biggest change. And then I changed some of our columns and some of our stories. We added food and, the bird watching. We added just a few other things that have been really fun. I changed all the fonts, type styles, layouts. I really got into it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It was a good time for a refresh, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, we never missed an issue during COVID. Never missed an issue.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, proud of that.
Speaking of pride, talk about your staff and some of your longtime contributors to the magazine. 19 years, that's wonderful.
They work behind the scenes to make me look really good. Could I mention a couple of names?
Yes, please, yeah.
Okay, Rodika Tollefson is my associate editor and she does other things too. And all these people have been with us the whole time. Chris Lively, design production. Greg Piper, IT and more. Peg Tillery, she was my first garden editor, and now she retired. Now she's back to just writing. Wendy Tweeten, my forever writer. And I'd like to also mention Winifred Whitfield.
Oh, yeah.
Winifred has taken my pictures since about the 3rd or 4th issue. All these years, she's taken my personal picture.
I think that says a lot about the magazine and Wet Apple Media, that you've got these people who've been with you since the beginning.
And advertisers.
Oh, yeah.
My first advertiser was Kitsap Bank, and they're still there. If they're still in business and still around, as a rule, they're still here.
Talk a little bit about the magazine Design Build on the Kitsap Peninsula and your participation in the building community.
Well, when we sold the Business Journal, I had a lot of outdoor racks. But I really couldn't put West Sound in it because West Sound is a paid-for publication. So I thought about what to do. And I came up with Design Build on the Kitsap Peninsula. And I take contents from West Sound that are just strictly building and designing, anything to do with that type of industry. And I overrun those pages at the printer. They shelve them, and then twice a year it goes back into a magazine called Design Build. And the first 12 pages or so are all new content, new covers, and in the beginning of it, it has an editorial by a builder, and it has another one by a designer. So introducing what's coming this issue. And then the whole content is a resource guide pretty much. And it comes out twice a year, January and July.
That's really interesting that you say that and that you call it a resource, because it feels, even though you say some of the content is the same, it feels completely different in feel and look. And it does feel more of a resource towards the trade or for people who are looking to build or remodel. Mail subscriptions are a really easy way to be able to have access to your publications. Where are some other ways people can get the publications you make?
They can go online to wsmag.net. That's westsoundmag.net. Subscribe that way. They can get magazines, Barnes & Noble, Town and Country Markets, Paulsbo, Bainbridge, Mallory Paint, Kitsap Bank, and other lending institutions. All the real estate offices have them if they want to go by and just pick up one.
That's wonderful.
And the nurseries and garden centers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Lots of local support. Tell us a little bit about the content that people can find on your website. And is that where people can sign up to get e-newsletters from the magazine also?
Yes, we have a new e-newsletter called The Insider, and you can sign up for that. And we used to have a daily one, and it was like one story a day. And finally I was like, I'm overloaded with emails. I get 350 a day. And so I needed to think about how to make it more concise and easier for people rather than just flooding their boxes. And so Greg and I came up with The Insider, and it has 5 to 7 stories in it. So you get, a fair amount of content, but it only comes out on Mondays. And the content on the website is everything. Everything that we ever printed is there, plus blogs.
Wow, that's a lot.
It's huge.
People can read for months on that website, right?
Years. 19 years.
Well, thank you, Dee, so much for being on Engaging Kitsap, and thank you for bringing us publications that really generate a lot of community pride and are very supportive of everything that we do here in Kitsap County.
Oh, well, you're very welcome. Thank you.
You've been watching Engaging Kitsap, a positive local forum where we bring engaging ideas, people, and organizations into the BCAT studio. And we'll see you next time around.
Thank you.